Mr. Jelly by Roger Hargreaves. Poor Mr. Jelly was frightened of everything and anything. At the slightest little thing, he would quiver and tremble and shake and turn to jelly. So it's not really surprising to find that Mr. Jelly lives as far away from anybody that he could find, in the middle of the wood, miles and miles from anywhere. This story begins one morning when Mr. Jelly was asleep. It was a beautiful autumn morning. The sun was shining. The leaves on the trees had turned to a glorious red, and the wind stirred gently in the tree tops. A single leaf fell gently from the tree right outside Mr. Jelly's house, and quietly brushed against his bedroom window as it fell. Mr. Jelly awoke with a start. "What's that terrible noise?" he cried. "Oh heavens, the house is falling down! A disaster! It's an earthquake! Oh calamity! It's the end of the world!" Then he hid under the bedclothes, trembling with fright. After an hour, by which time he realized that his house wasn't falling down, and there was an earthquake, and the wood wasn't coming to an end, Mr. Jelly peeped out from the bedclothes. "Phew," he said, "thank goodness for that." And he got up and went downstairs to make his breakfast. Mr. Jelly poured some cornflakes out of a packet into a bowl. Then he poured some milk onto the cornflakes. Then he went to the cupboard to get some sugar. Crackle, crackle, went the cornflakes in the milk. "Oh, goodness gracious," cried Mr. Jelly, diving under the kitchen table. "Oh, dear, I hear guns. Oh, calamity, it's war." But of course it wasn't. And of course Mr. Jelly eventually came out from the table and ate up all the cornflakes. After breakfast, Mr. Jelly thought he'd go for a walk. He was walking through the woods which surround his house when a worm poked his head out the ground. "Morning," said the worm cheerfully to Mr. Jelly. Mr. Jelly nearly jumped out of his skin. "What?" he shouted. "Who's there?" And then he saw the worm. "Oh, good heavens, it's a snake! Oh dear, the maddened snake! Oh, calamity, I'm going to be eaten alive." He jumped up into a tree. "What performance?" commented the worm, and went back into his hole. After an hour, Mr. Jelly felt brave enough to climb down from the tree and continue his walk. Eventually, he came out on the other side of the wood and into a field. Mr. Jelly glanced nervously around. It was an empty field, or was it? In the long grass in the middle of the field, unseen by Mr. Jelly, there was a tramp enjoying a sleep in the autumn sunshine. Mr. Jelly picked his way cautiously through the grass. The tramp, fast asleep, snored. "What was that?" shrieked Mr. Jelly. "It's a lion. I heard it growl." "Oh, goodness gracious, oh dear me. A lion, a huge lion with enormous teeth." "A giant sharp teeth that's gonna bite me too. A huge ferocious lion with enormous sharp teeth that's gonna bite me in two, if not three." And then he fainted. Yeah, this guy is so funny. I love him. All this commotion awakened the tramp, who yawned, stretched, sat up, and saw Mr. Jelly lie on the ground beside him. "Oh dear," he said, for he was a kindly tramp. "Oh dear." Then he picked up Mr. Jelly and placed it gently in the palm of his hand. Mr. Jelly came to and sat up, rubbing his eyes. Then he saw the tramp's face looking at him. "Oh, disaster!" he screamed. "Oh, calamity! It's a giant, an ogre! Oh, goodness gracious! He's going to have me for breakfast!" My," said the tramp gently. "You're a nervous little chap, aren't you? What's your name?" "Mr. Jelly," stammered Mr. Jelly. This guy, he's so funny. This story is so hilarious. "I used to be nervous like you," said the tramp, "but I learned how not to be. Would you like to tell me the secret?" Mr. Jelly quivered and shook and said, "Yes, please." "It's very simple," continued the tramp. all you have to do is count to 10, and you'll find that whatever's frightening you isn't quite so frightening after all. Then he set Mr. Jelly gently down to the grass. Remember, he said to Mr. Jelly, count to 10, and off he went. That is the most requested. Mr. Jelly thought it would be a very good idea that if he went home immediately. Back across the field he went. Back to the woods he went. He was walking through the woods when he stepped on the little twig. Snap went the twig. Mr. Jelly jumped twice in his own height in terror. What was that? He shrieked. That terrible snapping noise. It's a tree falling down. That's gonna crush me into pieces. Oh, calamity. It's a crocodile hiding in the bushes, snapping its teeth. Oh, disaster. Then he stopped. He took a deep breath. What did the Professor said at 10? He said, and saw what handgun snap was twig. Silly old twig. Phew, he said. Mr. Jelly had almost reached his house when a leaf drifted gently down from a tree on top of him. Help, police, murder, he screamed. I'm being kidnapped. Oh, calamity. It's ruffians with guns. They're going to... Then he stopped. He took a deep breath. What did the Professor send at 10? I can't say. Then he saw when it fallen and it was only a leaf. Nothing but a leaf, a stupid red leaf. It works, he said out loud in wonderment. And you know it did work. After that moment, Mr. Jelly became a changed man. Well, you can see that by looking at it, can't you? And he never shrieks or shouts or screams or quivers or shakes or trembles anymore. And he never hides in the bedclothes anymore. Well... Not very often, anyway. It's already KFC related chicken waffles. I think it's my new favorite, Mr. Man Counter. Oh man, this soup's... I don't know what that would be. No, it would mean. Rent the company. Get the... Oh my God. Why is this counting to 10 making me crack? Among Us is cock. Oh my God. Count Chocula. Oh man. Chocula. This KFC. Mr. Jelly must be frightened of that meat. He poured up Chocula's cereal on top of this thing. That's my channel. Okay, here comes Mr. Jelly's favorite commercial.
Who wants some of my Count Chocula cereal? Which, if looked at from a very specific point of view, is a nutritious part of this balanced breakfast. You!
How come you pour? You